Chapter 19 of The Calling by Elsie Pye. Determined to not let wrath completely ruin this night for me, and in honor of Jules, I grabbed Adir's hand and walked us onto the cleared area that was the dance floor. The musicians were cleared. Wait, what? The musicians were warming up for the dancing that was about to commence. The first song was always Landor's tradition, quadrille. It was my favorite and always left me breathless. Everyone in our party gathered, making a circle facing each other. As soon as the music started, I allowed myself to get lost in the dance. Next to me, Gil was over-exaggerating each step, adding his own moves to the dance. This resulted in everyone around him to almost fall. I could barely keep myself upright between his jerky movements and the laughing fit I was having. Across from me, Gemma attempted to dance between Eaton and Alone. Her little legs were trying their hardest to keep up with them. It was quite a sight. Halfway through, the two men ended up picking her up underneath the arms so that her feet weren't touching the ground anymore. High-pitched giggles filled the air around us, and Gemma beamed with delight. By the end of the dance, everyone was struggling to breathe, especially given the fits of laughter we were all having. I exited the dance floor hoping to find a drink when a hand wrapped around my forearm. "Oh, no, you don't," Gil insisted as he dragged me back onto the dance floor. I was about to tell him no out of the fear of messing up the steps. I had never danced with a man who was not my father before. Gil looked at me with excitement and warmth. I didn't want to reject him, and a part of me did want to dance with him, so I allowed him to lead me into the next dance. The musicians played other upbeat songs. Naturally, Gil didn't take any of it seriously. He walked to the beat of his own drum. We gave up the traditional moves, which I didn't think he fully knew anyway, and moved to however we felt like the music led us. I had never felt so carefree before. I didn't want it to end. We danced to the next two songs together, but by the end of them, I needed a respite. I walked over to the edge and watched couples move across the floor. Nadav and Hafsa glided, lost in their dance. Their moves were different from everyone else's, gentle and fluid. Gil spun around them with a local young woman in his arms, and she seemed enraptured by his charm, poor thing. Gemma, on the other hand, had somehow charmed Alone into dancing with her. She stood on his feet as he twirled her around like the dancers we saw earlier. My heart melted at how adorable it was. Would you like a drink? Eaton held out a clay mug filled with hot cider. Yes, I am parched. I finished it in one gulp, not minding how it burnt my throat on the way down. Do you want another? He chuckled. No. What I want is to dance again, I said, throwing my clay mug down. It landed among the other broken mugs already smashed into the ground. Since they were made of clay, they would eventually dissolve back into the ground. I grabbed Eaton's massive hands and made him start to dance with me. He was more rigid and stiff than Gil, but he still knew how to lead me through the dance. Are you happy we are leaving tomorrow? Eaton asked, trying to start up a conversation. I wouldn't use the word happy. I am sad to say goodbye to the Collins and the Gradys, but I am also eager to find Jules, I explained. That makes sense. Our time has been fruitful. I will even miss it a little. I have enjoyed being able to cook proper meals again, he said with a bright smile. It was obvious that one of Eaton's loves in life was cooking. What do you usually cook back at home? He didn't answer right away as he gazed off into the distance, probably envisioning himself being back home. We have made many different types of vegetation, which gives us access to a variety of crops. It allows me to experiment with flavors. We also have fresh fish at our disposal. I make a mean fried fish. You would absolutely love it. I smiled back, finding myself wanting to experience it all for myself. I had only ever had fish once before. Gasmere, although located in the south of Landor, had no large body of water nearby, so we hardly ever had fish. I was about to ask Eaton more questions about the villages when a voice interrupted our dance. May I cut in? Raph asked. Eaton peered down at me. As long as it's okay with you, Talia. They both awaited my answer, but I just stared at Raph. He had been ignoring me since our talk on the tavern steps. I wanted to say no to give him a taste of his own medicine, but my heart was not on the same page as my mind. Unable to look Raph in the eyes, I gave Eaton a small nod, letting him know it was okay. Eaton placed a hand on Raph's shoulder, pausing before he walked away, allowing Raph to take his place. He stretched out his hands, waiting for me to place my hands in his. The music changed to a slower ballad, and I suddenly felt queasy. I had never done this dance before, and I had no idea what the steps were. I took a slight step away, wishing I hadn't agreed to dance with him. He matched my step, waiting for me to grab his outstretched hand. He lowered his head toward mine and whispered, "It'll be okay, Caffrey. Trust me." My heart raced. I had no idea what I was doing, but as I searched his eyes, I found the same warmth from the other night on the steps. I gently placed my hand in his. As our fingers touched, the same shock from when he touched my hand in the forest radiated through my body. My whole body tensed as his other hand lightly fell into the small of my back. "Relax, let me lead you." I took a deep breath and followed his directions. He slowly led me in the same dance the other couples were doing. He spun me around on the dance floor as we weaved our way through the couples. His movements were fluid and strong. My shoulders relaxed as the steps became familiar, and I allowed myself to trust his guidance. "That wasn't too hard now, was it?" Raph said, amused. I tilted my head and raised my eyebrows. "You're not the easiest person to trust. One minute you pretend to care for my well-being, and the next you ignore my existence. It's hard to know where I stand with you." For a brief moment, he turned away, and an emotion I couldn't place passed over his face. It only lasted a second before he became cold and distant again. Like that, every time you show any type of kindness towards me, you instantly put up a wall and shut down. "Why? What did I do to you?" I demanded. "It's not what you think," he answered. "Well then, please, tell me what it is." I can't. "I think you can. It's that you won't. And you know what? I don't care anymore," I vented as I pulled away from him. "Wait! No, Raph, I don't want to deal with whatever this is. It's fine if you don't like me." I turned away, but Raph grabbed my wrist to stop me. I was about to tell him to let go of me when my gaze landed on a familiar face in the crowd.